Wow. Fortnite for me has been somewhat of a roller coaster, and I get that a lot of people give the game a lot of shit. But let's just remember, the old seasons of Fortnite were insanely fun, and I have never seen a single person that has said that they hated the older seasons of Fortnite. Back in the day, Fortnite was something special, and while it's fallen off for a lot of people, that's the question I'm going to ask you guys. Is Fortnite worth playing in 2020? Well, let's kind of examine the game. We're going to examine the game in two segments, the Battle Royale and Creative Mode. We're not examining Save the World, as that mode has actually barely changed, surprisingly enough, from when it started out in 2017. They just seem to not really care about Save the World, and honestly, it was a mode that I got really bored of pretty fast. It was a cool concept, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't hold my attention for as long as I was hoping to. But, is Fortnite worth playing? Let's see. And let's start out with talking about the Battle Royale mode. Well, this game's bread and butter has gotten better, I will actually say, since I quit in Season 6. Would I prefer to be in any season prior to Season 5? Yes. And I don't think that Fortnite is perfect. It's not the best Battle Royale out anymore, but Fortnite is still incredibly fun. And they've done some genuinely good improvements to the mode that actually don't seem that tedious. I like the addition of NPCs. I actually do. And I enjoy all the other things that they've added. Reboot cards were one of the only good things that they added by the end of Chapter 1, mainly because Apex Legends included it and it became huge in that game. So, in general, I would say the Battle Royale is pretty fun. It's not perfect, but they did a lot of things to improve the overall experience. For example, the casual playlist is no longer as sweaty as it once was, because they've since added in a arena mode, which is this game's ranked play. Which, this was an improvement that I feel like they should have done maybe before everyone quit, but it's glad that they did it, and now, while yeah, it splits the player base a little bit, it doesn't really affect a lot of people. What it means is that you can enter a casual playlist and just play casually and not have to sweat your balls off. But if you want to sweat your balls off, you can always go into the arena mode, and it is genuinely fun. I will say, it's a great experience. I haven't really played Arena just because I don't really play Fortnite competitively, but if you want to, it's there, and it's probably fun. Another huge change is they finally have started adding in weapons that aren't awful and new additions that really aren't terrible. Back in the day, if you remember, Season 5 and 6, even like late Season 4, the weapons we were getting were just getting progressively worse. And there are still guns that I do not like. The charged shotgun is interesting, it works sometimes, but in general, I don't like the charged shotgun. Even if it does do the job occasionally. And there are other guns that in general I don't really care for. But the gun roster is way better now than it was a while ago, and I wish that they were to bring back the pump instead of the charge, but, I mean, and I do still hate that double pumping is still no longer a thing. That was like the best thing and the most satisfying thing to master back in the older seasons, and ever since 5, they just haven't remade it, and it sucks because I really wish they were to re-include it. At least in casual. Maybe in competitive it makes more sense not to include it, but at least in the casual modes, please, can you give us double pumping back? The locations are interesting. The map itself, let's be honest here, I think when we were all waiting for Season 5, all of us, me and my friends and the general community, just want them to bring back Season 1 map. I don't think they're going to bring it back. Sadly, that could change with the Creative 2.0 announcement and the fact that we're getting more tools with that, which we'll get to Creative Mode in a little bit. But in general, no, it's just the Season 5 map, and it's fine. It's not great. It's definitely interesting. The idea of cars, I hated at first, but I actually don't mind it. It helps get around the map. And in general, the map's just okay. I prefer it to other seasons like 5 or 6 or 7. But in general, the map just I don't really care. There's no locations I'm going to really remember. For me, the best locations will always be the original ones like Tilted Towers and Salty Springs, which they completely vaulted in this one. Instead, it's Salty Towers. And I don't know why they had to bring Tilted and Salty into one. It's now just a shittier version of them both. It's not that fun, I'll be honest. I actually don't see them add as many additions as they have back then. And back, if you remember the good old days of Fortnite, there would be these constant, huge not huge, but there would be these constant updates, like every single Tuesday, I think, you would get a new gun. And we don't really see that anymore, which I don't have that big of an issue with. It lets them focus more on the actual chapters themselves and bringing in actual good additions, because if you remember, half the guns were donkey balls back in Season 4. The light machine gun, nobody gave a shit about that. The minigun was terrible back then. Apparently, it's actually good now. But a lot of guns were just not that good. And in general, I don't see as many updates, which I'm not actually that much of a fan of, but I'm not going to complain about it either. Because I would rather less frequent, but still really quality updates compared to you're going to get a ton of just smaller shit updates that we used to get. But, hey, to each their own, I guess. It's interesting that we don't see as much content anymore. Maybe I'm wrong and I just don't notice it, but I don't see it that much anymore. Speaking of, content, I'd say that there's a decent amount of stuff to do in the Battle Royale. I'll be honest. The challenges, they're interesting. I gotta say the NPCs bring more life into the map, and it makes it easier to get more stuff. Stuff like the chest rarities is an interesting concept, and boats are actually something that feels a little bit strong. That being said, though, planes, I still fucking hate planes, and I don't know why they brought them back. I mean, helicopters, yeah, those were a little broken too, but I never liked the addition of planes. I just never did. I thought they were really stupid. And it just so happens that they decided to bring them back for some reason, and I don't get why. They were not that good. I don't know, I just wasn't the biggest fan of planes. However, I think where they've started to change is with the LTMs. You don't see many of the bad LTMs anymore, but this kind of wraps into what I want to talk about primarily with Fortnite and why I actually was thinking of getting back into it. And that happens to be the creative mode. And, okay, but before we get to the creative mode, I'll give you my verdict of the Battle Royale. I would give it a C. I don't have the most fun with it. In general, Battle Royale games have kind of stopped interesting me because I played them so much back in the day. But Fortnite is still probably one of the better Battle Royales out there. I honestly would prefer playing it over PUBG. That being said, though, maybe Warzone or Apex would be better depending on who you are. Warzone, for me, I have bad blood with Warzone just because of how badly made the PC port of it was. But I could talk about Warzone another day. We could talk about that another day. I think we will talk about it another day when I talk about Call of Duty again, because that's not going to be far off from now. But in general, the Battle Royale, I think it's fun. It's definitely, considering it's free, if you want to try it out, it's interesting. It's not the most fun experience you'll ever have, but it's definitely not as good as the old Fortnite. But I think that it's still enjoyable enough to want to come back and play it a little bit. About a year after the game debuted, Epic Games decided that they wanted to throw another mode into the mix. We already had Save the World and we had the Battle Royale, but they wanted to throw us somewhat of a new one called the Creative Mode. Released in the tail end of 2018, this mode caught my eye initially, and while I didn't really care about it at first, I'm not gonna lie, Creative Mode is the single best addition to Fortnite. And you could fight me on that opinion, but I'll explain why I personally love the Creative Mode. See, I'm the creative type of person. I love level editors. I love being able to create my own things. And Fortnite has one of the best level editors of any game I have ever seen. They did not need to give us so much stuff. And in general, even if you're not a creative type, the creative mode is such a good addition that it adds so much replay value, and it's honestly part of the reason I can actually come play Fortnite, because I know that I could enjoy the game, its gun mechanics, everything about the game, but not have to worry about it being in a Battle Royale setting. In a way, the creative mode gave the ability for Epic Games to have all these new modes available to them, whether it be more niche modes like zombies from COD, or say something like, Bed Wars for Minecraft, being able to be recreated in Fortnite, but we also get more rounded game modes that you'll find everywhere else, such as Team Deathmatch, Free-For-All, or just 1v1 box fights, or you'll just see people just casually having a PvP, just one-on-ones. And while the playground was a cool addition, it got boring fast, considering that, it was just the map, you only had 60 minutes, and in general, it was fun for a little bit, but it got pretty old pretty fast. The creative mode basically gives Epic Games a ton of more freedom, whether it be us being able to create entire maps, make our own little mini Fortnite games, or making Team Deathmatch. I love the creative mode in this game, and, I think that Part of the reason I've actually wanted to get back into Fortnite is just due to the creative mode. It's great, and well, while yeah, maybe up the skill gap a little bit for a lot of people and made it so everyone was getting better, I'm not gonna lie that the creative mode gave us so much new things. And Epic Games seems to take advantage of the fact that we have a creative mode. If you look at the game's LTMs, all of them are community made, which is a double-edged sword, I'd say. On one hand, they're a little lazy for not creating their own unique ones, but on the other, it showcases that they genuinely see that some of the game modes that people are making are interesting, and it's great to be able to play all these modes even if you don't have friends. And even then, it's great that I can now bring up to 16 people to play Fortnite with, especially considering that the creative mode is 100% free, and it's insanely good. It's not perfect, I will say that. In fact, there was a lot of things I hated about the creative mode at first. Initially, it was a little hard to build stuff, especially if you wanted to get certain props. It was insanely annoying and hard. But they have since eased it up and made the creative suite a lot easier to use. And now, it makes it just really, really enjoyable. And, well, the creative process is really fun, to me at least. Although, I can't say everyone really likes making maps. I could see tons of people not liking it. But it's something I love doing. I also forgot to mention that with the addition of creative, it doesn't matter what guns you want to use. Every gun even since the game's release, a lot of the guns you remember fondly, they're all going to be there. All the original guns, maybe not all the original guns, the original Burst and a lot of the original classic guns, but a lot of the guns that you remember are completely here, even if they're not in the base Battle Royale, so you don't need to deal with that stupid charge. You can just use a regular pump, and, well, it's great. Even if you're not a huge fan of the Battle Royale, this gives a lot more options, and I really like being able to play multiple different types of game modes. There's a ton. You could play a lot of things in Fortnite, and it gives the game a huge amount of replay value, in the same way that Minecraft has a lot of replay value. You can play hide and seek. You could play fucking zombies, like I said. A PvE mode you could create. You can make your own fucking PvP. You could do so damn much with this mode, and you could play a lot. There's a huge suite of maps to play, and a lot of them are insanely unique, and a lot of them can be insanely fun. And I would strongly recommend you just take some time and check out this game's creative mode. I'm gonna give it an A. It's not... I will say that it was a little clunky to get started, but once you know how to build, it's really fun. And for people who just want to play, there's a lot of unique custom games that are so damn enjoyable. Even if you're not a huge fan of the Battle Royale genre, the creative mode helps me get back into Fortnite and want to play it more, especially when the suite is so damn large. It's a little hard to use, I'm not gonna lie, but the amount of stuff I've seen people create is genuinely impressive. So, I'll give it an A. It's really strong, and honestly, this is like one of the best parts of modern Fortnite. So, in conclusion, would I recommend you revisit Fortnite? It depends who you are, and I think it really depends who you are. If you want to replay Fortnite thinking you're going to be able to re-witness the days of Seasons 2, 1 to 4, or just have those original memories from the first 3 seasons, but you don't care about the creative mode, and all you want is the original Battle Royale style to return, there's not a huge reason to. It's basically still evolving, and it's farther from the original 3 seasons, I'd say, than ever. There's not a lot between here and season 1 to 3 that's the same. If you aren't a fan of the Battle Royale genre, but you like the game's gunplay, and you want to play like the creative mode, then I would recommend you check it out. It's really impressive. But if you're not a huge fan of Fortnite's gunplay, and you're not a fan of custom games and shooters in general, or you're just not a fan of the cartoony shooting and vibes of Fortnite, then, maybe stay away from this game too. And it's worth pointing out that the community in this game, while has gotten better, it's still mainly just full of little kids, which, may not affect some people, I don't really care, but there might be some people who really hate having a game that's just made for kids, and so, it's weird to say, but some people probably do. So, if you miss the old days of Fortnite, but you don't want to play the modern version, and you don't care about creative, don't play the game. It's not really a huge point to reinstall it. But if you're like me, who just enjoys Battle Royale and you enjoy the creative mode immensely, I'd recommend you give the game another shot. That being said, though, it's not for everyone, and I would still kill to play the original map and the original Fortnite. I would love to go back to those days. And maybe it's because I'm just nostalgic for the time period. It was like 2017, 2018, and for me, that was really like a golden age. Not a golden age in my life, but it was a really good time for me. So, to each their own. But what do you guys think of the modern Fortnite? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Would you recommend going back to it? And I'm sorry I haven't really been uploading. I just haven't really been wanting to upload. And a lot of the original series I was talking about, like Among Us, we don't really play anymore. And I had the 4th video done. I just can't fucking render it because it doesn't want to render properly. So, that kind of sucks. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, hit the like button and subscribe, and maybe I'll get back into doing YouTube again. I've kind of taken a little break. I'm thinking about getting back into it because we don't have school for a few weeks. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.